Hey you, are you ready for the training briefing?
Sure, sir, I am ready to begin.
In Samsung, making products requires a constant flow of raw materials.
But Samsung is a huge company, isn't getting so many raw materials a hassle?
Not if we have a formal process. We call it material management, basically. The company will issue a purchase requisition when we want to buy something. This is a formal document that tells our purchasing department to buy this item, the quantities. And when you need them, for example, our factory is running low on capacitors. We will issue a purchase requisition to them to buy 100,000 units, to be delivered in 20 days.
Oh, so this department is in charge of buying the raw materials.
The purchasing department conducts sourcing. It's where they deal with suppliers to buy raw materials from them, usually. We need items such as various metals, ceramics, glass for the build and displays. Rare earth elements like neodymium for speakers, lithium for batteries, semiconductors and small electronic components. So, our company does long-term agreements.
Meaning a contract?
That's right. It means that a legally binding contract between two parties. In this case, it's us with our suppliers, establishes an ongoing relationship for a period of time. It's like we have a contract for them to keep selling us materials. For example, we source our LCD display glass from Corning, located in South Korea. The metals, on the other hand, is through long-term sourcing from mines in Mongolia, Canada, Mexico, Peru, Chile. This is Samsung's program called Supply Chain Management.
Alright, after we get the materials, it's time to make the products, right?
Before that, how do you know which supplier to buy from? Therefore, we have to do an evaluation. Generally, you'd want to assess based on price, quality, and delivery. Well, Samsung factors in more criterias, which are environment, health, and safety, on par with its 2019 sustainability plan. Then also technology, quality, responsiveness, delivery, cost. EHS, the three factors mentioned above, finance, and law. Finally, we find the best candidate who best meets the criterias. After that, we have to submit a purchase order, so that they know what we are going to buy under certain tax. Now, they will ship our items to our warehouses depending on the materials. This will trigger a goods receipt in which we have accepted the items into our warehouse. Not only that, we refer to our purchase order earlier.
We have to double check whether we got the correct items, amount, and price.
Yes, we also can receive a partial amount of that. Let's say we've only gotten 50k items instead of 100k. That means that it will be a partial delivery, and we can update our purchase order accordingly. Finally, our supplier will invoice us based on what is being delivered. Now, if any discrepancies occurred like wrong math, wrong items, etc., then we don't pay for those because obviously it's not what the purchasing order asked for. Next, we are going to talk about the next phase, which will be production planning.
So if I understand correctly, we should start our production once we have the materials, correct?
Yes, but first, we start with the bill of materials, BOM for short. This bill tells you explicitly the components used to make this product. As an example, this is the bill of materials for the Samsung Galaxy S3 Ultra 8GB RAM, 256GB storage. Sub-6 GHz 5G at $469. Routing also comes along with BOM. It represents the detailed steps into making said product, including location to make it, duration, and how to make it. It's important for us to forecast future sales to make better plans.
Oh, it's like knowing past stock conditions to better make investment decisions. Although it's impossible to predict accurately most of the time.
Correct. It's important because we don't want to overstock or understock, which causes Samsung to not profit.
Overstocking is bad because you would have excess items left idle in the warehouses, right? those items still would have to pay rental and all that. Meanwhile, understocking is also bad because you won't have enough materials to produce when orders come.
That will cause Samsung to lose customers. A good forecast should also be based on trends such as seasonal changes.
That makes sense, supply and demand. During holidays, there will be an increased demand for certain items, which for us will be new phones. People might buy new phones. Therefore, we can forecast the predicted sales to be a little higher.
Well done. In Samsung's case, we would increase our current production on new models, maybe at a Christmas sale. After that, Samsung does have its own master production scheduling MPS and material requirement planning, MRP. First of all, master production scheduling means schedule your production ahead of time based on the quantity. Say, some retailer wishes to pre-order 3,000 of our new models. Then we would try to get a hold of 3,000 units on the given date. Another example would be the downfall of China's market share in 2019 below 1%. The two factories there had to be scaled back, stopping production in China. Material requirement planning, on the other hand, plans to manage our resources, including spending those resources on orders and purchasing them. It factors in current stock, bombs, routings, and everything related to the movement of materials. What we want to find out is the net stock available, which is our stock plus upcoming stock from vendors minus the stock used for orders. And if we run out of stock, like low on batteries, Samsung will issue a purchase requisition to buy more. This is called availability checking. Moving on to the goods receipt of Samsung products. The products in production semi-finished will be finished goods and are shipped across all over the world into distribution centers and into retail stores and establishments. Then they sell their phones by consignment.
Could you elaborate on consignment?
Consignment means Samsung distributes their phones, but the sellers do not have to pay for it yet. Only after the items are sold to the customers, the store will get a cut, and so does the company. At the end of the day, order settlement is all about money. The selling price has to be more than the actual cost of production based on the routing.
And if it's not, then we won't make a profit.
Yes. And a way to get around this is to go back to our supplier evaluation and try to find cheaper materials. This will be the third and final part of the system, which is sales and distribution. A customer may submit an inquiry to us if they wish to request information about our products. If they intend to follow up, they will receive a quotation, which is a legally binding offer for them to deliver specific products. After quotations, we can form a sales order. This contains total cost, item breakdown, and schedule lines.
What are schedule lines?
It means that an item has delivery quantities and dates for partial delivery. When a customer orders, they will usually want a delivery date. Because of that, our distribution department must plan accordingly.
Is it the same as master production scheduling, like as in plan out when you acquire the products before the delivery date?
Something like that. There is also forward scheduling, where you set the order date before the delivery date. Then in between is the time for picking items, packing them, loading them, transporting, and submitting a goods issue. Samsung's stock availability checking is straightforward. As an example, they cannot do a bulk order to sell chargers if the current stock is insufficient. That's when purchase requisitions come in use, replenishing the reduced stock. As for credit limit checks, Samsung does have them. If a customer has a low credit score or has credit card issues, we are reluctant to sell to them. Alternatively, if the score is high and has a good record in the past, we are more than happy to sell to them, even granting them a higher credit limit. Unfortunately, the specific information for their limit check is private. Finally, we are going to bill the customers. We will send an invoice to collect payment. Once the customer has paid, our bank balance will be increased. That will be the end of the sales process.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very informative training guide.